Hey everybody. So if you didn't catch what that music was for, that was actually the Men in Black theme from the first film. Because today in this video I'm going to talk about Men in Black 1 and 2 to prep everybody for Men in Black 3, which comes out in the end of May. So let's get started. So Men in Black, you guys, I was about 7 or 8 years old when I first saw this film. I believe it came out around 1997. So this was around the time where CGI was pretty new still. It wasn't advanced like what we see now. It was very much an element back then and not the main subject matter of the film. So whenever they used it, it was very brief and it cost a lot of money. So they had to use it carefully back at this time when Men in Black was made. And this was also around the time where Will Smith really became a huge film icon. He became a part of a lot of big blockbusters, a lot of films like I Am Legend and I, Robot and this film and Independence Day and all that kind of stuff. So Men in Black, you guys, most of you know the story of Men in Black, but if you don't, the first film centers around a Men in Black MIB force, I think is what they call it. They pretty much are guys in the suits that work for the government, and it's their job to get rid of alien scum, as they say on the poster. And if they're good aliens, if they're willing to adapt with us, and if they adapt well with us on Earth, they're willing to keep them here, but they have to behave. And if they misbehave, well, they're terminated by the Men in Black. And the Men in Black, if humans like us see it, they have these little pens like you see throughout the film where they flash them and they tell you something, and then as soon as they leave and the flash wears off, you go do what the Men in Black tell you, which in most cases it's like, Men in Black don't exist. What you saw was not an alien. It was, a figment of your imagination, all that kind of stuff. Um, so throughout the film, when we're first introduced to the Men in Black in the first film, Agent K has done this for a while. He's looking for new recruits. They're running out of members. The alien races that are coming to Earth now are more extreme than they were ever before. And to sum it all up, they need more members at this point. So what they do is we're now introduced to Will Smith's character, who's Will Smith, and his name is Agent J. But his name isn't Agent J yet because he's not an official agent yet. So he is a cop working in, I think, either LA or New York or wherever this film takes place. And he he gets asked to come to the testing area of the MIB force one day to kind of just test out, see if he's meant for the whole Men in Black deal. And if you've seen the film, you'll know that it's a very goofy sequence that plays out at this point. And strangely enough, after this strange sequence, you would have never guessed that Will Smith's character will become an agent, but he does. And because he becomes an agent, and shortly around this time, one of the worst alien forces that has come to Earth is now on Earth. And it's this giant cockroach looking alien that lives in this one person's body until the cockroach is fully formed. And once he's fully formed, he breaks out of this human body that he was living off of for a while and becomes this giant cockroach that both Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones have to go fight off. And so that pretty much is the first film. It's about Agent J joining the force, fighting off this giant cockroach creature that they're fighting off throughout the film. So I really enjoyed the first film, you guys. It was very interesting at the time, very funny, very adventurous and full of unique CGI and a lot of technology that we weren't quite used to back then. And Barry Sonnenfeld really outdid himself and really made a really interesting film with the first one. Then we had Men in Black 2 around 2002, so I was about 12, 13 when that one came out. I actually remember really enjoying the second one as well. It just didn't seem as magical as the first one in some cases. I'm sure most people would agree. It was still a good film, but it didn't feel as magical. The second film centered around a alien that took form of a supermodel when it came to Earth. And this time around, Agent J has been in the business for a while. And because Agent K has been in the business for even longer than Agent J, Agent K was retired at this point in the story, and you actually saw it at the end of the first one too. And what happened is as soon as this alien came to Earth, um, the case got severe enough that Agent J had to go recruit Agent K again because they needed someone more experienced to handle the case with J and not a new recruitment in the case of the first film. So J tracks down K, and it turns out he is retired like he thought he was in the first film, but he's working at a post office. And what K doesn't know, because his memory got erased, was that in the post office, apparently a lot of aliens work there, at least at the post office that Kay works for. So at first, that's kind of Kay's first exposure back to the Men in Black, is getting used to the aliens, showing Jay kind of showing him who's a human, who's an alien, who's an alien disguised as a human, all that kind of stuff. There's also a unique sequence, you could probably find this on YouTube too, where Will Smith raps with one of the guys in the post office, and it later reveals the aliens who were trying to disguise themselves as humans in the post office. But getting back on track, Kay does eventually get his memory back through a character that we saw in the first film, who was played by the same guy who played Monk in the TV show Monk, if you know him. His head grows back whenever you shoot it off, so that's kind of a unique characteristic that that character has. So after Kay gets his memory back, they can finally get to business and find this alien who's disguised as a supermodel. And once they find this alien, kind of like you expect, Kay and Jay have to hunt it down for good. And also like the first film, and I actually didn't talk about this, but in the first film they teamed up with a girl that Will Smith was attracted to, and like the second film, Will Smith is attracted to another girl that became a part of this case with the alien, and she actually becomes an important key in the second film to getting to this alien and getting rid of this alien out of Earth, or getting this alien out of Earth back to the planet where it came from. So they team up with this girl that they ran into during this case here, and they are eventually able to get this alien off of Earth. So Men in Black 2 was good, you guys. One thing I actually kind of liked even better about the second one is it even focused on a character that we saw in the first film, but this character had a bigger role in the second film, and that was Frank the Pug. Frank was he's an alien that looks like a pug. So to us, he's cute, but to the Men in Black, he's just another alien. Um, so this alien is disguised as a pug, so that way by the time Frank came to Earth, people wouldn't freak out about Frank because they're like, oh, he's just a cute little pug. What's he gonna do? So I liked how Frank had a bigger role in the second film, but once again, it just didn't feel as magical as the first film, but it still had its moments. I remember even back then, even laughing harder in certain scenes than I was at the first film. But as I'm older now and understand film better, I think the first film is better. It just had an overall better story, and even though the cockroach villain wasn't as interesting as the villain in the second film, I think just overall the first film is just more fun than the second. But like I said though, the second film is good. It just didn't feel as magical as the first. So that was my Men in Black 1 and 2 review, you guys. I'm looking forward to Men in Black 3. I think it's interesting that Josh Brolin will play a younger version of Agent K, and that K and J are both in this film. And this time around, neither one of them are retired, and neither one of them are new again. Um, they're both in the business for a really long time, especially K at this point in the story. And it's really interesting to see what they're going to do with Jay going back in time, meaning a younger version of K. So I guess in a sense it is a new agent again, but it's a younger version of a character that we already know from two other films. So in the same case, it's not that case either. And I like how Emma Thompson and a few other notable celebrities are going to be a part of the third one too. And I hope that Frank the Pug's a part of this one because I really enjoyed Frank the Pug from the first two films. I also don't know about the worms. The worms are important characters in the first two films, and so I don't know if they're even going to come back for the third film. But Barry Sonnenfeld and David Kober are part of the project again, so I am hoping that um, all those original characters we're going to see again for the third film. So I hope you guys are going to go see Men in Black 3 like I'm hoping to, and I hope you enjoyed this review of Men in Black 1 and 2.